Yeah, hello my friends, welcome to my episode number 3. This video clip is about swords. We used to live here since 2003 and now living in Malahide. Swords is located in the north of Dublin, around 10 minutes drive from the Dublin airport. Yeah, there are around 40,000 inhabitants living in Swords, and yeah, it is a very nice location. It's not far away from Donabate to the beach, to Portmarnock, Malahide, and actually in Malahide we are living at the moment. I will tell you a little bit, while I'm driving on my motorbike to Lidl, I will tell you a little bit about Swords history, if you don't mind. The first settlements in the region date from the year 560. The foundation, however, is attributed to the monk Saint Columba. He lived from 521 to 597, and according to the legend, he gave the blessing to a local resident, which suggests the Irish meaning of the name sword, which means actually clear, pure. The body of Brian Boru, who was killed in the Battle of Clontarf in 1014, is said to be in the castle near the city center. So my plan for today is to visit our Swords castle together with you, and I hope you join me. And yeah, I was driving the motorbike through the main street, and I parked a little bit outside, actually beside, close to the new nursing home in Swords. I will tell you here also a little bit about the history of this castle. Located in the center of the ancient town Swords, castle contains over 800 years of history, and as a recent surprising discovery of burials beneath the gatehouse shows, it has yet to give up all of its secrets. The castle was built by the Archbishop of Dublin, John Comyn, around 1200, as a residence and administrative center. The extensive complex of buildings is in the form of a rough pentagon of 0.5 hectares and is enclosed by a perimeter wall of 260 meters. It is a national monument, and it is the best surviving example of an archbishop's palace in Ireland. Sorry for my bad English. The curtain walls enclose over an acre of land that slopes down to the Ward River. This complex of buildings is made up of many phases of reuse and redesign, reflecting its long history and changing fortunes. Yeah, I don't like to talk too much about this now, and yeah, now I will come to an end. I will show you around close to Swords Castle and inside. and this will be very, very interesting what you can see inside. And it's always wonderful to feel the history, you know, when you touch the walls or something like that, or even when you walk inside the area where the old knights were walking around. But no, there were no knights because this castle was not very involved in wars. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy when I'm walking around within the castle, and 100% sure I will talk a little bit later again to you. And yeah, stay tuned. Thank you. Hello friends, we are here at St. Columba's Church in Swords, County Dublin. And of course, I would like to give you some inside information about this location as well, if you don't mind. The round tower is the surviving remnant of St. Columba's monastic settlement. The only remaining relic of the medieval church is the belfry from 1300, which is open to the public in the summertime. The original church is said to have fallen into ruin sometime in the 17th century. The new church of the early Gothic style was built in 1811 on the foundations of the old one. The Sections Lodge was built in 1870. The body of Brian Boru was said to have been brought there in 1014 to be waked after the Battle of Clontarf, while on the way to be buried in Armagh. I hope you enjoyed our today's video clip in sorts, and of course I'd like to invite you to our next episode, which will be in Malahide Castle, episode number 4. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you a nice day, and the most important is stay safe. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.